Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about Polygon, or as is otherwise known, Matic, what has happened to it recently, and where I predict the price to go to in the near future, as well as some key price levels and some trades I'm looking to make. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis on this channel and you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So let's get straight into this video. So Matic, from the interest rate decision that we had yesterday, hit a low of 83 cents after that interview happened with Jerome Powell. And over the course of the evening into the morning for my time anyway, we saw the price soar from 83 cents to 98 cents here on Matic, representing a 17% pump from its trough to its peak here. Now, of course, when you look at all the other top cryptos, nothing even comes close to the pump we saw on Matic. So as you can see here, we do generally have a sea of green today in cryptos, but nothing even came close. So something's going on with Matic, and it's pretty exciting. So I do want to talk about it in this video. And so the first thing you'll notice is Facebook, which is named Meta, has put out this tweet that came out yesterday about the time that Matic started pumping, so 11 p.m. my time. Soon you'll be able to make and sell NFTs on Instagram, starting with Polygon. So Polygon is at the forefront of the blockchain that's serving NFTs here on Instagram. Now, Polygon was probably one of the first choices here for Meta because Polygon is a low fee network. So of course, to mint anything, to sell your and buy your NFTs is very cheap to do so. Whereas Ethereum, for example, would cost you a lot more in gas fees. So of course, with Ethereum for NFTs, typically, you'd be paying several dollars per transaction that you do in gas. At its peak, it used to be like several $100s in gas fees just to do a mint or something like that. But now the prices have come down for Ethereum. But when you compare it to Matic, when you compare it to Polygon, basically, it really just doesn't compare with Polygon. You'll be paying less than a cent for transaction fees to mint, sell, buy NFTs, etc. So I can see why Matic would be the blockchain of choice. Of course, Meta has chosen Matic to adopt to begin with, which is very, very bullish for Matic. And of course, the other news comes from, and quite possibly the other reason for this massive pump is with JP Morgan using Polygon as the blockchain of choice to send their first ever DeFi payment. So basically you can see it in this tweet here. I'm not going to go into it too much, but basically JP Morgan used Matic as the blockchain of choice, and Singapore's regulatory authority as well, my apologies. So JP Morgan and Singapore's regulatory authority used Matic to send their first ever DeFi payments. So those are two very, very bullish things here for Polygon, and of course that is going to be pushing the prices up. Now we've seen it get to a high of 98.5 cents, and we've consolidated a bit in this region, which is a local high here for Polygon. But if we look in its past, Polygon has done particularly well, and the other reason for that, it acts as a layer 2 on top of Ethereum as well. So Ethereum had the merge, and before that run up to the merge, we saw Polygon do this massive 215% from its lows. So it's a very, very highly respected blockchain here, and it seems like it's definitely got a bright future ahead. Now, talking about its short-term price moves and where I think the price could potentially go in the future, I'm looking at certain things right now on the chart. So if I start off with the larger time frame, so we're on the day's time frame at the moment, what I initially realized is that we could be doing something that looks a little bit like this. Now, of course, this is definitely not perfect by any means, but in terms of chart patterns that I'm looking at, this is probably the most prominent one. Of course, you can draw it in several different ways. We can draw it like this as well, but the implication is still very similar. And that implication is that we could be seeing some sort of rising wedge here on Matic. And of course, a rising wedge is typically a bearish sign. So of course, we've been going in this very bullish direction. So it's kind of a contra trend signal here. And so a rising wedge has two trend lines going in the same direction, and in this case they're both going in the bullish direction, and a rising wedge is typically a bearish sign. So of course, if we do see this rising wedge play out, and just speaking from a matter of fact way, This is not my opinion on where I think the price is going to go. This is just what I'm seeing right now. We should see a price target here of the first test of resistance and support of this rising wedge as our price target from this breakdown. So if we do see this rising wedge play out, we could see Matic do something like this, where the price comes down, goes up to test the resistance one more time, for example, comes back down and then breaks below the support. And our price target would be the 75.76 cents region. And this distance here just comes, as I say, from the first test of the resistance, which is up here, and the first test of the support, which is down there. So this is obviously on a very large scale. This is on the 1 day time frame. So this is something that's been building up for a matter of weeks now. And so this is something I'm looking for on the long-term time frame. I'm looking particularly at this support line here. So if the price does get down to the support line on the smaller time frames, for example, and we see a lot of momentum as the prices get here. So if we do something like this and all of a sudden the volume increases and we start going down very sharply, then I will know why, because we should be seeing this falling wedge, and therefore I will be opening a short position. So that's one of the first things I am noticing, and of course, needless to say, these chart patterns are not perfect. And on the shorter time frames, what I am seeing here, so this is now the 1 hour charts. So if you're looking to trade on a shorter time frame over the next day, for example, then what I am potentially seeing, although it's going to be a bit speculative because we've just come from this pump and now we're starting to consolidate in this region, is we could be seeing some sort of chart pattern that looks like this, and this will be called a triangle. So a triangle has two trend lines, one going in the downwards direction, one going in the upwards direction, and typically this would encompass a period of consolidation. So what we see in consolidation is this volume down here declining like this, and the price just bouncing in between the support and resistance. Now, of course, if the price does something like this, and again, if we get more price data and the price does go outside or the trend lines match, or the trend lines need adjusting to better encompass the price, then the triangle could look like this, for example, or it could look more like this, where it's a longer triangle. The implications would still be the same, in the sense that if we break out from this triangle, we should see a reliable price target. So right now, the price is bound in between this resistance and support, and basically what we'd be looking for is the volume, like I say, to decrease. And when we see the price come close to the support or resistance, and we see the volume and we see the price exceed it, so if we say break out to the upside, so the volume does something, so the price does something like this, where we come close to this resistance here, for example, and then break out, then I would be looking at a price target again, which represents the first test of the support and resistance, and that price target becomes somewhere above $1. So $1.02 would be the price target. If this triangle were true, of course, it would be best to get some price data before we confirm this triangle. This is just for explanatory purposes, and this is what I'm looking at in the short term over the coming hours and into tomorrow. And if we do break below this triangle, then we'll be looking at a price target of 87 cents here. So of course, for this to happen, I would want to see the price bounce in between this resistance and support, and I'd want to see the price hit this resistance, hit this support and hit this resistance a few more times. So at the moment, we've got one bounce down here where the price has come up. We've got two bounces up here. So we've had that first peak and we've had the second peak that almost touches it. In fact, what we can do is better adjust it like that. So you can see peak number one, peak number two. So we have two tests of this resistance, this upper line here, one test of the support down here. So what I would like to see is a few more tests of both resistance and support in order to support this triangle here. Of course, like I say, I'd be looking to adjust the triangle if we get some news price data that forms a different line. So at the moment, we could be seeing something more like this, for example. And if that better fits the data, then we would see a triangle that looks like that. So that's the triangle formation as a summary, just to show you some other trusty, and just to show you what our trusty MACD and RSI indicators are suggesting as well. Basically, we've seen this massive pump. Of course, we're very, very bullish. We've seen a crossover on the MACD, indicating a sell signal just in recent times, and we've seen the RSI go into overbought territory on the 1 hour time frame here. Both of them are well above their halfway marks as well. So we could be seeing this nice trend here on Matic where we continue to go in this upwards direction, particularly if we're able to stay above these moving averages. So we've got three moving averages here on the chart as well. As you can see, the 50, the 100 and the 200 hour moving averages. And what's significant about this is that typically when the price is above the moving averages, we're in a bullish trend, and when we're below these moving averages, we're in a bearish trend. So when the price stays above for extended periods, we could see Matic doing a bullish trend, and if you're a longer term holder, you could see some nice capital appreciation with your holdings in Matic. So as you can see here in the past, for example, we've seen this generally bullish trend from the 23rd of October up until around here as the price remained above these moving averages for the majority of the time there. So that's a good example here how the moving averages are used. And finally, very finally, I just want to show you Bitcoin as well, because Bitcoin is the tune for the whole cryptocurrency market. So if Bitcoin does something bullish or something bearish, then chances are altcoins like Matic will follow as well. So if we see Bitcoin go in an upwards direction, so at the moment I do believe we're in a triangle in Bitcoin. If we see Bitcoin break out of this triangle to the upwards direction and we see it go into the 21,000s on the charts here, then we could see Matic go in that upwards direction too. Of course, it's not going to be a perfect correlation, but it should add a bullish bias to the price action here on Matic. And by that same token, if we see Bitcoin break below the support on the triangle and we head down into the 19,000s, then again that should add a bearish bias to cryptocurrencies as well. And we can see Matic break down towards this support, this purple support that we have here, and break below this rising wedge that we have, and to an ultimate price target of around 75 cents. So really that's what I'm looking at in a nutshell: the RSI and the MACD, this rising wedge on the longer term time frames, that triangle formation where the consolidation period on the shorter time frames, as well as what Bitcoin is doing and whether we're above or below on the moving averages, and what Bitcoin is doing, as well as whether we're following a bullish or bearish trend in the markets. So that is all I have to say on Matic. Let me know in the comments below if you are holding any Matic, and of course if you got anything from this video, do be sure to hit the like button for me. So let me know in the comments below if you're holding any Matic, and of course if you've not yet done so, be sure to hit the like button. But otherwise, thanks so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.